Oh.
Relax. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the work action meeting of the Bogota Board of Education for February 8th. Everyone, please stand for the flag salute.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Publics Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Bogota Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Bogota Borough Hall, communicated by letter to the record, filed with the clerk of the Borough of Bogota, and posted on the Bogota Board of Education website. Mr. Irfan, can we have a roll call?
Mrs. Alvarez,
Present.
Mr. Alvarez. Present. Mr. Chavez,
Present.
Mrs. Cruz,
Present.
Mrs. Coles,
Here.
Mrs. Oliva,
Present.
Mr. Ortega,
Present.
Ms. Record,
Present.
Mr. Miranda.
Present.
We have the full board.
Also present are Superintendent Damian Kennedy, Board Attorney William Sukas, School Business Administrator, Board Secretary Irfan Efsil, and Assistant Board Secretary Elizabeth Ruiz. Moving to the hearing of citizens on agenda items only. Can I have a motion, citizens?
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second, John.
Sorry?
Second, John.
Thank you, John. Is there any discussion? Can I have a roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
So, this is time for any resident or public personnel to come speak up. You have 5 minutes on agenda items only.
It's working?
Yes, please
Yeah.
state your name and address. I forgot.
Sherry Salamov, 350 Larch Ave. It's really nice to see everybody in person. I usually attend via Zoom, so it's nice to see everybody. I'm here today on behalf of the Steen PTO. I'm your president at Steen. We've done a phenomenal job raising funds so far this year. We are up to over $16,000, so well into our $25,000 goal for the remaining of the year. And as a PTO, we've decided to put a nice chunk, about $10,000 towards what I think is going to be a great recreational part for our children, an indoor, really fun. It's going to be a rock climbing wall. It is 8 foot tall. It is 28 feet wide. It is colorful. It is safe. It is abiding by all the rules. And I think it could be really exciting for our kids to enjoy during the cold months where they don't have that much extracurriculars during gym, other than those hula hoops and those little scooter things that, you know, kids like to roll over each other's fingers with, says the nurse. So I'm here today hoping for approval. We would like to fund this very exciting rock climbing wall to the Board of Ed in hopes that it would get installed so our kids can enjoy it. Thank you so, so much. And any questions, you guys can go ahead and ask me as you.
Thank you, Sherry. Just for the future, for the next residents or citizens to come up, it's on agenda items only. I understand, just take it. We apologize and we do appreciate everything. Anyone else? No one's raising their hand. Do I have a motion to close hearing of citizens on agendas only?
Motion, Lisa.
Do I have a second?
Olivo.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I just have one question. I mean, I'm for it, but do we have to get it checked out with our insurance carrier?
That's what
as far as
that was gonna be
liability?
my question.
So we are in the process of going through all that right now. So Sherry reached out a couple of weeks ago, talking about they want to do that. We got Nick involved in the process as our building and ground, so reached out to the fire. Everyone that has to be contacted will be contacted. And because it only there's certain laws for how high it goes, so because it's only going a certain height, there's certain restrictions that we don't have to worry about, but everything is in the process of getting checked out. So I'm hoping that next week we'll have it on the agenda to fully accept it, but I was gonna mention it tonight and then call you up, but.
Okay, thank you.
You beat me to it.
Okay.
Thank you. I truly hope that we can eventually have it in all schools. I understand Fairlawn and some other schools have it. It's an amazing recreational activity. So really, thank you. Thank you that, you know, everyone is working to make things like that happen in our district. I guess, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. We'll move on to the superintendent's report, Mr. Kennedy.
All right, I have a bunch of things. First, moving forward, anyone that has noticed, we moved to board docs. Our board is taking a crash course in it, but also the public is too. It's going to help us keep a library of all our board meetings and minutes and a lot of other things. Our policies are all right there. We're going to be able to post attachments to things that in the past you weren't able to see, and now it'll just be a click. So we're working through it, but it's so far we're off to a good start. So, you know, kudos to everyone on that. Also, we are initiating a district-wide food drive, working with the BEA and all schools and PTOs. The Bogota Ed Association has received approval to donate $1,000 to the St. Joe's Food Pantry, and all schools will be running food drives and fundraisers to help support the pantry. We have a vape presentation hidden in plain sight, which will take place in person on August 23rd in the Bogota Junior Senior High School. I've been to one, I think we did it 4 years ago. It's very informative. We're going to be inviting all our parents, but especially, you know, as young as 4th grade, so that you can start seeing it's going to be like a picture of a teenager's room and some things that you would not expect to be right out in sight that are right there. That will give you some more information to help you at home. Obviously, Sherry just came up, but Steen PTO is going to be donating a rock wall. We are going through the proper channels and to get the proper checks and balances on it moving forward. Sports update, our bowling team won the league title for the first time in 20 years. So congratulations to the players, the coaches, and the volunteer coaches. Congratulations to Coach Mahoney on 700 wins. He is just the 14th coach in New Jersey to win 700 games in basketball. So that was a really big deal. Also, a night later, Evan Meekberg scored his 1,000th career point, which is a very big deal too. So congratulations to everyone there. Community survey went out last week regarding future plans and projects. I'm asking that the community take a few minutes to complete this survey to provide the district with feedback to help us properly plan and work together to make the best experience for our students. I've sent it out twice. I have not got a ton of responses. So we're just looking to push that as much as we can over the next 2 weeks to really help us guide us to make some tough decisions in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, yesterday, Murphy made an announcement regarding the mask mandate. He did give us 4 weeks to prepare for it, which we are happy about. There will be guidance coming out from the NJDOE on what entails regarding not wearing masks in school anymore and who would have to quarantine if they're not vaccinated. There's a lot more to this than just we're taking our mask off. So until we get all the information, until we talk to our local health department, until we talk to our local officials and our board, I'm not going to sit up here tonight and tell you what we're going to do on March 8th. I don't think that would be smart on my part. I don't know what it will look like in March 8th, but we will be doing what we did this whole pandemic. We're going to work together. We're going to contact the proper people to help us make these decisions and then make the best decision for our students and staff and school community. And then finally, Mr. Vinci is going to come up and provide us the audit report for the 2020-2021 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Moving on to the
No,
approval.
he's gonna
the
do it now.
presentation.
Oh, he is, I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. Good evening, everybody. Just before we get into the financial reports, I just wanted to bring the board up to date. The reason why the reports are late, thinking that, again, this is the June 30, 21 audit, is the fact that information from the state that we needed to complete the report was not provided to any of the districts and auditors until January 29th. So the delay created a problem in releasing all the documents. And that's why the reports have only been released this week. Since we had to update the report, we actually finished the audit about 3 months ago. So again, it's a delay that was created by the state and it affected every school district in New Jersey. If you do have the report or did I have the synopsis?
Yep.
Okay, so the synopsis, if you have the reports, it's the two documents. One is a larger financial report. That's page 27. If you have the synopsis, the first page of the synopsis. Synopsis is only 3 pages. So the first page would be the actual balance sheet of the district as of June 30, 21. And when you look towards the bottom of that, that's the balance sheet. When you look towards the bottom, there's a caption called Fund Balances. We did review and discuss the financial condition with the Finance Committee prior to the meeting, but overall, the condition, the district's financial condition is very good. The surplus increased about $800,000 from 19-20 school year to the 2021. The bottom line you will see for fund balances is about $4.9 million, and that makes up reserves as well as surplus. 2 or 3 areas that are very important for the board to monitor. You have a capital reserve balance, and there are 2 dollar amounts you see there. One is 1.7 million. The second is 890,000. The 890,000 is actually in the current school budget, the 21-22. So the balance of 1.7, the board has available for projects that are in your long-range facility plan, whether you undertake those projects this year or next year. And you can add to that reserve, as well as the next reserve, the maintenance reserve in the month of June, or in the adopted budget. You cannot add to those reserves during the year. So when you look at the reserves, you have a total of 2.6 million in capital, 735,000 in maintenance. So those carry more than half of your surplus that you see at the end of June. There are 2 other large dollar amounts I'll just touch on briefly. The excess surplus that you see in there is actually money that, again, that was in the current school budget, the 600,000. And there is an encumbrance dollar amount of 630,000. That's actually the balance of a purchase order that deals with the property down the block, the lodge, where you actually closed on the property subsequent to June 30th. So we had to reserve those monies. So when you look at your bottom line, your surplus is $4.9 million. What's not in this dollar amount is the state aid that came in the summertime, which is about $1 million. And the state has been paying districts late for about 10 years. We cannot accrue that receivable. Had that money come in by June 30th, your actual bottom line would have been then $5.9 million. So your unassigned that you see here is 68,000 is really $1 million greater than that. And again, it's a technical accounting issue, the way the state has paid all the districts in delaying state aid that you're entitled to. We had 1 audit recommendation, which is the last page of the synopsis. It's a minor item, and it dealt with the application for state school aid. And we have seen this with other audits of districts that we had this year. There were just differences between the application and the internal work papers that were maintained. And again, we have seen that in quite a few districts, but the differences here were minor. So when you look at, I think, the audit overall, from a financial perspective, your surplus increased. The records were in excellent condition. And the one recommendation that we did have dealt with a compliance matter that was really overall, I would consider minor. And I know the board just received the reports. And again, it's only because of the way we were able to get the information and bring the reports to you. So at least you had them. I think the administration is recommending this goes on the next meeting agenda.
Yeah, then February 15, the board will approve the corrective action plan, all the audit reports.
Any questions? I know you just received the document, so I do apologize. But
So board members, you can dissect this at home, review it, ask questions to her
Yeah,
phone,
sure.
and ask questions at the next meeting as well before voting. But if you've seen it now and you have any questions, feel free, just let it know. Everyone okay? Any questions?
Thank you.
No questions?
No.
We're good? Thank you, Mr. Lindsay.
thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right. Moving on to the approval of minutes for January 18th, public meeting and executive session. Are there any comments or corrections on the meeting? Do I have a motion? No motion, I mean, getting used to it. Let me see what I'm at here. Moving on to resolution in the policy section, resolution 5.1. First reading of policies. Is there any board comments on this resolution? Do I have a motion?
No motion.
Oh, sorry. Moving on to the resolutions of the education section. Resolution 6.1 through 6.9. Are there any board comments on these resolutions?
Yeah, I wanted clarity on 6.4. If possible. What? Child.
So
teen
when a
evaluation
child
in
comes
Bogota.
in, we have to test them in their native language.
Okay,
So that's why that is what
Okay.
it is. So it's, the reason is so that it's not a language problem, that there's a deeper issue that we're trying to find out.
that makes sense.
Do you see any other questions? Moving on to resolutions on the personnel section, resolution 7.1 through 7.7. Are there any comments from the board on these resolutions? Moving on to resolutions on the finance section, resolutions 8.1 through 8.7. Are there any comments from any board members on the resolution? Moving on, section 9, buildings and grounds. Nothing there. Next on the agenda, our committee reports in section 10. Are there any committee reports this evening? No committee.
We had committee.
meetings. No one wants to report? Next, we have old business. Are there any old business the board would like to discuss? And next is new business. Any new business the board would like to discuss? All right, so I would like to say for the entire board, I want to say on the board docs to please look into it, learn it, try to get a bigger dive into what board docs, can offer. I had the opportunity to sit with Candy for about half an hour and pick up some of the stuff, similar to something we use as a platform in the private sector. What I like best about it is that you will be notified as the board office updates board docs. We eventually want to, also get away from, how would I say, take away from staff driving around and focus more on the children's district for whatever their needs are. And I like the purposes of a streamlined process, efficiency and transparency. For the public, they're going to be able to see policies and get the links as we vote for them and as we're about to adopt them. So I think that's very important because we noticed that virtual does work. And I feel that if we can cater more into the idea of getting everything at your hand, right? They're able to social media on their emails and working hard. maybe they get more involved with our school district and their want to discuss it with us and policy, right? We know that today policy can drive a lot of differences in our districts. We're learning. So I really encourage that. So I want to encourage everyone to adopt it, please, and take it from there.
Mr. Miranda, may I remind two things to board
Absolutely.
members? I'm sure everybody received a disclosure form email. I would like to remind that, please submit those. If any questions, please let me know. And also, I have all the mandated training registration done, except Mrs. Cole's. Everybody should finish those too. Thank you.
Mr. Irfan, what is the due date on the disclosure form? April?
April 30, except Mrs. Cruz and Mr. Alvarez. They have to do it in 30 days.
Okay.
So
Make
that
sure
they
you
are-
do that, please. You know,
Mrs.
that-
Cruz done already.
All right. No, I understand. I'm just making sure. And if you serve on various boards where you have a financial disclosure, you must do one for each. Just so you know, it's come up in the past. Just moving on to hearing of the public, can I have a motion to open the floor for hearing of the public?
Motion Ortega.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone?
Same thing, if you have a comment, please raise your hand, state your address.
Name and address.
Um,
Moving on, can I have a motion to close hearing of the public?
Motion Coles?
May I have a second?
Olivo?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now on to executive session. I know, I don't have, well, we don't have to read anything. Motion to adjourn.
Motion Coles?
Second?
Second, Italia.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.